White House senior advisor for the COVID response team, Andy Slavitt, joins us now. Andy, good morning. As we just heard from we've got 22% in our poll saying they will not get the vaccine, another 18% saying maybe they won't. How do you address that?
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me on. Look, Americans have an important decision to make, and I think as Americans do their homework, they're going to realize that it's a really smart thing for them to do, but they really have to do that homework themselves. If they look at the over 130 million Americans that have been vaccinated, they look at how much safer they are, the things that they can do now in their lives, they compare that to the incredibly modest, if almost non-existent risk of taking a vaccine, I think that that's where they'll end up. All you have to do is look at what's happening now in India, even in Michigan, if you're a younger person, and see what the risk is from COVID. So I think people will do their homework. I encourage people to talk to their doctors, talk to people you trust, talk to your pharmacists. Don't listen to politicians, don't listen to senators, don't listen to me. Talk to the people in your life who you trust, and I think most people end up making that decision.
Are you worried that, 51% of Republicans say they don't want to get the vaccine. Are you worried that this could escalate as a political problem?
You know, we're going to try to prevent that. We don't think in those terms. We think that people want to be informed. They want to be educated. We understand some people have questions. We know that some people are younger and they don't feel as much of a threat as people who are older, so they need it to be more convenient. That's why we have thousands of people in communities who we call the community core, who are basically prepared to answer people's questions. We talk to doctors and scientists, and the medical advice that people get, I think is going to encourage them more than not to take the vaccine. So I think it's going to be step by step. I don't think it's going to be quite as fast as it has been over the first 100 days or so, but I think we'll get there.
To what degree do you think vaccine hesitancy will delay a return to some kind of normalcy?
You know, I think there's a community by community answer there. If we have communities in the country where we have very high degrees of vaccinations, I think you're going to see very much a 2019 type of a life. But if we have communities in the country where maybe only half of the people get vaccinated, then they're going to be at serious risk for these variants coming in and having happened what's happened in Michigan recently. Thankfully, they're recovering, beginning to recover from that. But the communities that don't have high degrees of vaccination are going to be at a little more jeopardy.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine has now been deemed safe and effective for the vast majority of people, but it seems to have been tainted in some people's minds that it's kind of effectively a second-class vaccine. Are you concerned that its reputation has effectively been damaged?
Yeah, I don't think people should look at it that way. I think the first conclusion people should take away is our drug safety system is working great. That means that if there is even the slightest concern or the slightest issue, we'll know about it. The FDA will take action on it. They'll study it, and they'll come back and make the right recommendations. There's no way the FDA would recommend and that the CDC would allow this drug to be put in people's arms if people weren't very comfortable with it. So people just do their homework. Some people will prefer a single-dose vaccine. Johnson & Johnson's an outstanding vaccine. And some people will prefer not a single-dose vaccine, and you have Pfizer and Moderna. And we're really in a fortunate position where we have 3 highly effective vaccines, and people, I think, have some options. But no, I think a lot of people will continue to want to take the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Yeah, Dr. Ashish Shah, who is with us in this broadcast, said he considers it a highly effective first-class vaccine. Andy Slavitt, thank you so much for being with us.